you highly rated coming through school, or it just? Or
you see the shirt I got on? It said underrated, right? I think
that's right. That's right. I forgot. That's the reason why you did that. I wanted to ask a question because, I get it why parents are so into rankings because it does bring value.
I wasn't highly touted. I was a 3-star recruit coming out. I was ranked 200. I forget. I looked it up a couple years ago. I was 200 something in my state, so I wasn't even like. Sorry, my class, it's the 200 in my class, but that wasn't even a thing on my radar. Like when I got back on the circuit, I remember just one game after somebody coming up taking a picture. I'm like, yo, what's that for? And like, oh, for this recruiting site, we got to rank everybody and all that. And that was the first and last time I actually really realized about it. But to your point, like it's not black and white, right? It's not. It doesn't all the way matter, and it does. Like there's some kind of gray in between of like understanding that your journey and your development, it may be something that you've had that momentum since you were 12, and everybody's talking about you, and no matter what gym you come into, they know about you. Or it could be, you're a late bloomer like I was, where you're just looking for some opportunity. The confidence that I had when I walked in the gym was like I was the number one recruit. And I feel like I could play with anybody. Didn't matter what my number was. And you can get caught up in that, thinking that's going to determine your future. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer, like you're going to end up where you're supposed to be if you approach the process in the right way. And when unfortunate part about it right now, it's find somebody saying something great about you. You can find somebody talking trash about you, and it's gonna be right there on your phone. You're gonna see it. We didn't have that back. We didn't have that. Like it was all guesswork. So I feel for the kids now coming up, because that's a tough place to be when you're really trying to find yourself. And you work, man. You put the time in. It may not look glamorous. It may not look pretty, but you're going to pass the eye test when people come in the gym and watch you play and know that, okay, this dude, he is the guy, girl, they love to hoop. They love to win. It matters to them. And then that'll start to pick up steam. And next thing you know, you'll be right where you need to be.
100%, brothers. Whatever your goals is, you put your head down and you go after it, right? And, everybody's development is different. Mm-hmm. I remember having to take dancing classes my freshman year because I couldn't play at all. I shot
no footwork,
no footwork, no nothing, bro. And to think about it now, I went from that
to getting drafted.
I was 6'1", going to 6'10" in the 4-month span. Didn't know how to play, to being drafted out of high school. 3 years later, right? Again, it happens like that, but your focus has to be laser sharp, and and that's what the parents got to just remember when they're looking at Twitter or Instagram, somebody else getting something. Don't be persuaded because they're going through that. Just stay focused on what you're supposed to go through.
Mm-hmm. Did you always want to be pro, or was it heavily influenced because your dad was pro?
It was definitely influenced by him because I grew up going to games. I grew up in the locker room, meeting all his teammates. I was always in the gym, had a ball in my hand. So that was always the vision, right? But it was never until I was basically in high school, it was never like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and this to make it there. I just love the game, and that sounds cheesy and corny and the whole deal, but literally,
that's facts.
I was blessed that I actually just love to play basketball, right?
Right.
And I didn't really put that extra pressure on myself too soon to be like, all right, I actually got to enjoy being a kid, which is dope. So for me, just being in the gym playing, obviously I got to see the highest level every day, and that definitely helped me, but I didn't rush it. And, really the best part about it was nowadays, you got all the people doing the YouTube videos showing their workouts and stuff, and you get to see highlights of it. But I got to see the work that those dudes put in on a daily at the highest level. And so it almost makes you uncomfortable because if you're thinking I'm 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and you see guys in the gym, you realize they driving these nice cars, they got these big houses, they got all this stuff, but they in here actually grinding every day. Right. It was now that I actually didn't think about it, it was a great message to me that even at this highest level, they're still working they don't have nothing. And that was cool for me because it gave me a sense of appreciation for the journey because and not taking for granted whatever level of basketball I got to play on, because I'm saying if I can make it, if they've made it to that level, and and they're still, putting the time in and don't feel like they got it made, like, man, what am I doing?
Man, I'm telling you, what people don't realize too is that it's always somebody new coming into the league.
Absolutely.
Right. And so the consistency, no matter what you have, the consistency of what you got to bring to the table each and every day doesn't change.
Pressure, man. 60 guys come in every year. Like, there's 60 jobs wide open. You got to maintain your position. And that's not even an every year. That's an every night thing, too. Like,
yeah. hey, that's what I be trying to tell people. I be trying to tell parents this all the time. Look, man, like, you want to see what you got now, right? You want to build the core and character of your kid now, like you're teaching them how to read, write, and multiply. In sports, this is the same thing. Put them in the fire because they're going to have to figure out a way to be consistent. You can't parent your way through this process.
Mm-mm.
You just can't. Like, either your kid's going to be good based on what they do, what they don't do, or they're not. It's simple.
They need that support. They need the love. They need tough love at times. They need to be, because like no kid has it all the way figured out, and you got to be that presence for sure. But you can't predetermine or hold their hand, through this whole process. Because and that's why you see the guys that come on, get drafted and all that. They appreciate the parents that allowed them to figure it out on their own, but was always consistent with their presence, right? And just found a way to motivate without putting too much pressure on them. There's a subtle balance to that for sure.
When you were growing up, how was your amateur experience? Was it something? What was some of the things that you went through at an early stage? Obviously, with your dad playing in the pros, but what were some of the things that you went through? Did you play a lot? Or did you train, or was it a mixture of both?
There's a mixture of both. So it kind of, it starts with I played multiple sports and loved like getting exposed to different skill sets, different roles on teams, finding like my way when I got challenged. And you play with a lot of different teammates and stuff. You start to obviously build bonds, but you start to learn a lot about who you are as a competitor and who you are as, in terms of your work ethic and stuff. So like basketball specifically, played on all the like local YMCA leagues until I was about 8, and then I started playing AAU and played AAU between 9 and 13. And on those teams, like I wasn't the best player, but I was on the starting lineup. Very confident in myself, but physically I just wasn't all the way there, and had a very specific role on most teams just to shoot threes. But it was a cool vibe at that point where, like to your question, nothing was kind of given a guarantee. I had that grinded out mentality from the time I was a kid because of my stature, because of my size. But I was always kind of juxtaposed with who my dad was and the whole deal. Like, when people walked in the gym, they knew who I was, but that always didn't match up in my head. And it was really, really confusing at the time. Like, why are they worried about me? And, I'm just, one of the guys type of vibes. But when I got to 13 is when I had kind of a decision. The system was getting a little diluted in Charlotte, and there was a lot of politics and stuff going on. And from my standpoint, I felt like I wasn't getting as much out of like the travel kind of situation, and my skill set wasn't improving. I was playing, but I didn't feel like I was getting better. And so from 13 to 16, I played school ball, but in the summers, all I did was trained. I had a guy in Charlotte. His name was Scotty Scott. It's crazy. I'm bringing back the old memories. I remember him. He trained me like 4 times a week, and the rest of the time I go play pickup and stuff. But I never did the travel teams. Just trying to get stronger, get a little bit better, get my skill set right. And then when I knew around recruiting time, from 16 through the middle of my senior year of high school, that was when I could kind of get back in the circuits and get in the summer travel teams and AAU and hoop and play that way. So for me, that was the best thing for me because I thankfully had people around me. What was important at those different stages throughout my my development. And that's not the same. That's not the right. There's different routes for everybody, and trial and error is the best thing, man. So like for me, that was kind of part of the journey. And when I came back 16 through on, I felt like my skill set was ready to then show how much of a competitor I was and how much I wanted to win and be able to kind of spend those next 3 years trying to get a scholarship.
How was your transition from high school to college, and then obviously your first couple of years where, I think you had a couple injuries that you had to figure out, but how was that transition, and then how was your mindset approaching both transitions?
From high school to college, it was a lot easier, to be honest. Like I went to Davidson, small D1 school, is 1,800, 1,900 students. We're in the Southern Conference. Our program just graduated 7 seniors. And I loved my coach, and I loved everything that he said about what he could do for me in terms of getting the most out of me on the court, off the court. And so I bought into the vision of like his presence, at the school. I knew I was going to play right away. If it wasn't going to be given to me, but the opportunity was there. It's a big difference between handouts and having an opportunity to go and get it. The opportunity was great, and I picked it for a reason, but I had to go grind. But the speed of the game that's the most consistent thing from both sides. It was extremely tough, especially at the point guard position, because you're responsible for so many decisions and trying to make the right play at the right time and balance and scoring for me and shooting. Scoring and facilitating. So on court, that was the biggest adjustments. And then for me, time management was the hardest thing for both transitions, because at school, classes and all that, and you still got to find that time to work on your game, and the hours are crazy, and it seems daunting at times. You got to be disciplined about every single step of the way. And then when you get to the league, it seems like you got too much free time, and you got to learn how to stay productive, keep your mind all right, and not start feeling yourself too much before it's deserved. So, man, it's the best thing about it is just having the right people around you, whether it's teammates, whether it's family, whether it's friends or people that are going to be loyal, but also tell you the truth about what you're doing. Like that part, big, huge reasons why I felt like I had success on both levels.
Yeah, and I think really the most part is just the kind of person you are. And I remember walking in the gym when I got to Golden State, and it was you and Clay out there shooting on one goal. Then I think Draymond was a little bit further down.
Yeah.
I remember all of this young talent in the gym, and it's rare in the NBA because when you put too much young talent together, that's chemistry for like disaster. But you guys was just different. And when I hear people say things like you ruined the game, I'm like, he gave the game something different than it's had, which created a new part for the game. But also what I tell people like my son, who wants to shoot all threes now, or whatever kid, is the level of commitment that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have in their craft is incredible. And talk a little bit about that, and just kind of talk about your ritual. I mean, because I know you had a ritual like if you hit the rim, it don't count, right? And I remember y'all telling me, I said, wait, what? If you hit the rim, it don't count. And just tell about that tedious process that you go through.
Sometimes I don't even know how to explain it, because it's just a process that I rely on so much, and it's like a feeling of, one, I love it. Like, as much as I love the game and hitting big shots and winning games and all that, like sometimes you are dead tired, sometimes you're not really motivated, but when you're in that that workout or that shooting session or whatever it is, like I absolutely love it and I get lost in it. And so KD actually talked about it a couple years ago. He was like, it's so therapeutic in the sense of like when you get lost in your craft and finding like new ways to challenge yourself, to shock your body, to try to get to that next level, whatever it is. It takes some creativity, it takes consistency, it takes commitment. And to your point, like I had that from the jump, but it was only even amplified because I had guys around me that had the same kind of mentality. So like you said, Clay, Draymond, KD, even like Sean and Andre, it showed itself a different way. Like they were so committed to their game, but maybe that was taking care of their body, maybe that was talking to one of the young guys who helped the betterment of the whole team, and on top of the skill development and all that type of stuff. Like everything was disciplined and was intentional and purposeful. So I felt like I've always had that work ethic, but as I got into higher levels of the game, you want to surround yourself with people that you feel like are better than you. Or I shouldn't say that. I feel like I'm better than anybody, but have the talent and the skill to kind of keep up that are going to challenge you.
Same mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And that it'll keep you on edge, really, because you can have this perceived like enemy and competition, all that, but if the guy right next to you wants it as bad as you do, it's only going to come out, in you even more. So,
iron sharpens iron.
That's the verse.
That's for sure. I remember having this conversation. I don't know if you remember this. I remember we were in the practice gym, and I said, Steph, man, and again, I was just blown away because you just typically don't see young teams like that, right? That committed. And I've been around so many great players, played with so many great players, had my run as well. I remember the conversation. I said, Steph, if you take this team and you lead them,
I do remember that.
You're gonna win MVP and y'all gonna win the championship.
I absolutely remember that. And I tell people all the time, that year the year before we had come off the Western Conference semis run to beating the Spurs, and then we came back and we took the Clippers. We were Game 7 in the first round, and it was a eye-opening experience for one to have a vet give me that vote of confidence, because I was still honestly at that point I'm still figuring it out as a leader, as the guys I gotta have to be on every single night at that level, and the pressures and expectations that come with that. But when you get iron sharpens iron, you get people around you that can bring that out of you, can plant a little seed of something that is your job to kind of take that and make it into reality. That was the year that it all kind of clicked and changed, and not only a message for me, but that what you said to me, and then I take that and kind of process it and show it by how I handle myself, the work that I put in, and all that becomes contagious for everybody else. And whatever, you might not even say it personally to anybody else, but like you said, somebody take the reins for it and take it and run. That's what I tried to do, and I've had an amazing journey being with guys that see the best in me, and the way that I try to lead is try to bring the best out of everybody else. So it's pretty dope to see that come full circle. And now I'm sitting here 12 years or 11 years in, trying to figure out
it goes by fast too. And I'm gonna tell you, bro, when Steve Curry got hired, he called me. I remember he had called me. I was outside at my house, and I knew mentally I couldn't do it anymore. But I remember having that conversation. I was like, man, I said, they about to win this thing, because you guys were just, you were hurt and you were angry about the loss. 2 straight years, and that level of talent going at the level that they were doing is just I knew it. I almost had a tear in my eye, because when you won, I was like, damn, I probably should have went. I probably should have went back for another year. But I was like, all right, it wasn't meant for me.
Hey, bro, I'll have you in the dock one day. I'll have you come in.
I appreciate it. And we got about 3-4 minutes. In 5 years, 5 finals, and then obviously this year was a tough year, but I look at it as just a break. You guys needed a break physically. Talk quickly on that experience for both 5 years of 3 championships in 5 years. And then having the year that you guys had last year, and kind of what you're looking for next year.
Yeah, man, it's exciting times. Like you said, 5 years run. Couldn't imagine that would be, the situation. Forever grateful for the wins and the losses, because it was an amazing experience. And like you said, we wanted to come in this year, prove a lot of people wrong. We had some roster turnover, a lot of young guys. Obviously, injuries happened. Now we're in the suspension, so it's everybody's kind of in some uncertainty. But for us, big picture, we know we're not done. Myself, Clay, Draymond, the core that's been here from day one. We're gonna do everything that we got in our power to. It's gonna look different. It's gonna have some new cast of characters that are gonna contribute at a high level. But the DNA and just the chemistry that us three have we're gonna be in good shape coming out of this, no matter how basketball looks, because it's kind of just wild talking about it, not even knowing when we're gonna play coming out of this virus. So I think I'm excited about it, just knowing that where we're at, what we've been through, with all the lessons that we've learned, knowing that we got a lot left in the tank, and Yeah, kind of like a message for all the young guys and girls out here that want to just hoop and play and compete. Like, it's going to come back, and what you do now is going to be instrumental and so valuable to what you're going to be, whenever that time comes. So keep grinding, even when you know nobody's looking. When it's hard, get motivated. When you're at home all day, like, make sure you keep the big picture in mind. What you want to be is only determined by the amount of the good decisions that you layer on top of each other every single day. So use this time wisely as best you can, because it's going to come back.
Yep. Well, Steph, man, I appreciate you, brother, man. You keep being who you are, which makes you, one of the greatest this world has ever seen. Just keep being the person that you are, man, because you're leading so many people. You impacted so many people, brother. And again, I appreciate you getting on and doing this.
I appreciate you, Jay. All the best to you and your family, and we'll do it again soon, man.
Yes, sir. All right, tell everybody, say what's up.
Yes, sir.